This episode has been brought to you by Los Angeles Neurofeedback, training your brain to reach your highest potential. For more information, contact Christina Wood at 310-600-0159 or visit them at losangelesneurofeedback.com. Welcome to Push Rim Life After Injury podcast for February 21st, 2014, episode 36, Occupational Therapy. I'm Ray Pizarro.
I'm Boris Del Cid.
And I'm Richard Bow.
We want to thank our audience for being with us once again. These podcasts were created to talk about spinal cord injury related topics, disability resources, and also spotlight individuals that found ways to get past their challenges and are a great source of inspiration. And with that, we brought in our friends at from Precision Rehabilitation. Claire MALAWY is here to share a little bit about her expertise in occupational therapy. Welcome, Claire.
Hi.
All right. So, B, welcome back, too.
Hey, thank you very much. Good to be back.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too, Richard. We love having you, Claire, and we appreciate you taking time from your busy schedule at Precision Rehab in Long Beach. And again, welcome.
Thank you.
All
Richard.
right.
Your turn, agreed.
Now, I was going to start in with some questions, but I thought you were going to ask her something.
Okay, well, let's go. Let's get started.
Yeah.
Let's get busy.
Hey.
So why did you decide to become an occupational therapist, and when?
Sure. So I went to USC for OT school. I graduated from there in 2005. My undergrad is in kinesiology. And when I was an undergrad, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. Didn't know if I wanted to be a physical therapist or athletic trainer. And I had never heard of occupational therapy. And I went and spoke with a professor, and she asked what my interests were. And I let her know, and she said, "What about OT?" And I said, "I have no clue what that is." So I went and looked it up, and I thought, this is perfect for me. It's that just right balance. And so anyways, I applied to OT school. Like I said, I graduated in 2005 from USC and worked in the same setting for about 8 years, where I worked primarily with people who have spinal cord injuries. And now I've made the transition to an outpatient setting.
Okay, so can you explain to me the differences between an OT and a PT?
Sure. So I think it depends on the setting that somebody is in. But let's say, for example, in an outpatient setting, or we could say outpatient and inpatient, a physical therapist is going to work primarily with somebody on their wheelchair skills, wheelchair mobility, making sure that they get up in a standing frame, work with them on their transfers, more so like, let's say, from a wheelchair to a mat or from their wheelchair to the car. And occupational therapy is going to work primarily with somebody on their upper extremity strength, endurance, strengthening the muscles that are innervated, if that's the particular case. Also work with them on, if need be, assistive technology, adaptive equipment, adapted ways for dressing or doing other ADLs. So that's
okay.
kind of in a nutshell.
All right,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
Good.
so as a quad, would you be able to teach me how to cook?
Yep.
For
So,
instance?
yep. And it
Okay.
depends on somebody's level of injury. So obviously, you said quad, that could mean a variety of different things. And somebody
Right.
could be at a much higher level injury where they have no movement in their arms. And so at that time, then it's working a lot with that patient or client on being able to direct their care versus actually doing an activity on their own. So,
okay.
with spinal cord injury, there's so many different levels and abilities. So,
Yeah.
Yes, speaking about modifying things, and what is the most craziest or unusual thing you had to modify for someone, if you could remember?
craziest or unusual? I don't know if there's anything that's been crazy,
Okay.
but I would say that there are typical things.
Okay.
Most frequently, somebody's home isn't accessible, regardless of what your injury is, whether it be spinal cord injury or brain injury or stroke. But most homes are not accessible, and usually the areas that are of greatest concern include entering your home environment, and then the second most common area is the bathroom. So have yet to meet somebody whose home was already accessible for them before they sustained some sort of traumatic injury or accident.
No, I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
And-
no, I had to totally move after my injury.
Yeah.
And do
Yeah.
you guys make trips out to people's homes when they get transitioned from hospitals usually?
Correct.
Or?
So usually how it works is insurances will cover when somebody's in an inpatient setting for an occupational therapist, and usually it's probably an OT and a PT who will go to somebody's home environment to take a look to see how they're moving around in their home environment. Or let's say you're in like a big recliner chair at that time, but with the anticipation that you are going to be in a smaller size chair, being able to make the appropriate recommendations, knowing what somebody's level of injury is.
Cool, yeah, because it could be a big blur, right? When you're inpatient and not have enough time to take full advantage of all the therapies that they give you. So it's encouraged for people to do a lot of outpatient.
Correct.
Come in as outpatients.
Correct, absolutely. And usually with the home modifications, it's just recommendations that are made if you're working with an OT or PT in an inpatient setting. And then it's the responsibility of that individual to be able to find the appropriate contractor or architect to make those changes.
Sounds like there's a lot there to be learned and I guess integrate into an OT. Are there any subspecialties in your profession?
Sure, there is. There's definitely a lot. Again, OT is so broad that an OT can work in the NICU, so with tiny little infants, can work in a school setting, can work in an inpatient, outpatient, skilled nursing facility. It's so varied. They can do driver's training. Somebody can be a certified hand specialist.
Like with professional athletes.
So
you guys work with them?
That would be probably more like an athletic trainer.
Oh, okay.
For each team would have their own athletic trainer. OTs can do vision, rehab. So there definitely are a lot of specialties. And then with the home modification, it's often recommended that you have, we call it CAPS, and it stands for Certified Aging in Place Specialist. And so that's another.
That's great that you mentioned that, because my next question, do you have any special licenses from the state or any certifications or trainings that you might want to expound on?
Sure. So an occupational therapist, we're typically registered and licensed. So you have to be licensed in your state. And then for me specifically, then I have my CAPS certification, so Certified Aging in Place Specialist. So went through the training for that. And then OTs don't automatically, when they get out of school, they're not able to do, we call them modalities. So doing stimulation, ultrasound, all of those good things. And so I have that certification as well.
Can you expound on the CAPS, please?
Sure. So it's Certified Aging in Place Specialist. And through the National Association of Home Builders, that's where somebody can find out who is CAPS certified. And so it's recommended that, let's say, it could be an OT, PT, architect, a contractor, and they're all listed on that website. And so you know that if you go to that website, click on somebody who has their CAPS certification, that person has a little bit more knowledge and understanding about either aging in place, so wanting to stay in your home environment, or working with somebody who needs to make modifications to their home environment, who has either, let's say, sustained a spinal cord injury or who's had a stroke or a brain injury.
That's good to know.
So you do that too?
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
I do that on the side, yes.
Oh.
So I have a side business, and it's called Spaces to Places. And I work with another occupational therapist. We're both CAPS certified, and can work with anybody who, like I stated before, has sustained a traumatic injury or accident, or somebody who'd like to age in, or who'd like to stay in their home environment as they're getting older instead of, let's say, go to a nursing home.
Oh, okay.
You got a website?
We do, yep.
Okay.
And I don't know, do you guys post things? Yeah.
What is
Okay.
it? Can you mention it right now?
Sure. So one is the precisionrehabilitation.com.
Oh, certainly.
And that's the occupational therapy. And then the other one is spaces-to-places.com.
All right.
Spaces dash the number 2.
No, T-O.
Oh, T-O.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
glad we
That's why,
clarified.
yeah, I probably should.
That's
I don't know if we
Spaces
can type it.
dash
Yeah,
T-O dash
Okay.
places.com. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll do a lower third. So
Yeah.
everybody can see
That'd be
it.
good. Yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
put that in
Okay.
there. But
Fantastic.
thank you for letting us know that that's what a CAPS is, and that's what you also do besides being a professional at Precision
Yes.
Rehab here in Long Beach. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got more questions, but go ahead, Richard.
No, I just wanted to ask, can I come and see you over at Precision about maybe getting my tenodesis a little?
So,
Better.
Richard, what is tenodesis for those of us who do not know what that is?
Oh, okay, when you have a spinal cord injury in the cervical level, generally you don't have hand function. And so you use a little trick called tenodesis in order to pick up stuff by moving your wrist, and it automatically closes your hand. So
That's well, okay. Go ahead.
no, that's just my personal explanation. I'm not a therapist.
Tenodesis
so-
is a surgical attachment of a detached tendon onto a bone. So, anyways, go ahead.
Did I say it wrong?
Well,
or-
we do call it tenodesis. So it's
Okay.
utilizing, your wrist extension in order
So
to
I
get
was
your
right,
fingers
Boris.
to close. Yeah. So absolutely. Totally could come see an OT in outpatient. If, let's say, you don't feel like you're having a functional tenodesis was addressed when you were in inpatient, or if you've had some sort of change or questions related to that, and can use, and again, it depends on the person. Some people, we say, they don't have a functional tenodesis, so they may have wrist extension, but their fingers don't close, let's say, right? Because they've been stretched out with their fingers open and their wrist up. So there's different techniques for addressing if somebody needs to develop a more functional tenodesis.
And then your hands can also contracture, right?
So you mean your fingers can become in a closed position?
Yeah.
So not for everybody, but there are some people where that does in fact occur.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there also, I remember my favorite piece of equipment. There was that universal cuff. We all remember that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where, most quads, functional quads, had that universal cuff. You could stick your toothbrush in there, your hairbrush.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what the OT did.
Yeah.
They give you all these little cool things.
yeah. Then you could implement them when you get home. You're able to still use them, and
Absolutely.
most likely you take them home with you.
Right.
One more question on
Sure.
your home modifications.
Sure.
Like, what kind of major modifications require a permit from the city?
Sure. So every city is different,
different.
but for the most part, if you're gonna, like, let's say, paint the inside of your home, you don't need a
Right,
permit for
right,
that.
right,
But I have a list of different things that you would need a permit
Okay.
for. So if you're going to do any sort of like structural changes, you would need a permit
So
from the
whiting
city.
in the door, would that be something?
But yes.
Okay.
Yep. So it's usually a structural change,
Okay, gotcha.
unless you're going to do, like, let's say, reverse hinges or something where that's going to give you a little bit more space.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about doing reverse hinges.
And that's fine.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Now, so in your opinion, what is the most difficult obstacle an ACI individual faces at home after leaving the hospital?
Again, I think everybody's obviously totally different.
Yeah.
I would say oftentimes what I hear is that somebody has a tough time navigating in their chair over different surfaces. So oftentimes in the hospital, it's this like tile, flat floor, and there's not bumps and there's not carpet. And so making that transition back into the community is oftentimes difficult. Having that endurance to be able to push over those different surfaces can be quite challenging. Now, obviously, that's different if somebody's in a power chair. You're not having to propel
Right.
yourself.
Just bowl over it.
Yeah.
So as we get close to wrapping up here, we want to, first of all, thank you, Claire, for coming in. I mean, our shows are nice, short, and sweet, to the point, basically, and then later people could check you out at either the website or your place of business.
Sure.
But we want to thank you for your time. And Boris, I'm glad you were able to come out once again to hone
It's
in
been
on our
way too long.
conversation. Yeah.
I know.
Well, you've been a busy man lately, so.
Well, trying to get stuff rolling. So
Gotcha.
Yes.
So we want to, again, thank our audience for being with us. And Rich, where can they find us if they want more information?
On YouTube, Club Push Rim, sorry.
Okay.
Club Push Rim is where you can find us, and you probably have already. And if you have, please subscribe.
yes, and also at pushrim.com.
That's right.
We're on iTunes also, and if you want to get in contact with us, we're actively looking for sponsorships for just our equipment and other sorts of things that we're needing for our production. You can reach us at info@pushrim.com. Send us an email, any donations of any equipment, tripods, whatever you might have that you don't use. We'll be more than happy to use them. So Claire MALAWY,
Thank you, guys.
thank you so much for
Thank
being with
you.
us, and hope to see you at Precision one day for some OT.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And thank you, Precision, for letting us have you interview.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, thanks, Christy.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
And with that, we leave you guys. Thanks once again for being with us, and remember, there's always life after injury. Till next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.